Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm a little sick, but this is an update video. I've been gone for quite a while. I was traveling for a little bit and then the tender. So I was a vendor at Cape Town's first Kota Festival. There's a bunch. If you go to kotafestival.com, I'm just gonna put the link in the description as well. But you can see the upcoming events, and it's something that I'm really enjoying. So I was selling drinks and I was hiring out some equipment like picnic blankets, picnic chairs, camping chairs, and I think I did very well. I was using Ecoca Speed Point. That came in very helpful. And yeah, so tomorrow evening we're having a debriefing with the organizers as a team, just to hear what went well, what didn't go well. I'd also be curious to know how I can go about applying for ezinye Kota festivals. I've also applied to get a stall at the Mzansi Braai Festival, Lesotho, November. So that should also be interesting. Sorry, I'm sick, like I said. I'm busy drinking mint lemon. So I'm going to be doing that. And I also applied for daisies. But I filled in the Google form using my work Gmail. So it's not really a work Gmail, it's a Gmail I created for work. Let me put it like that. And obviously, like, I'm not working today, so I don't have access to that to see the response. So I'm just waiting to hear back on that. So daisies will be in October, and then Mzansi is end of November. Obviously, the ultimate one is bushfire in May next year. So I also want to hear what that's about. Anyways, enough about that. Like, I'm just basically telling you, like, that's sort of my hustle. At the moment, I'm also applying for an informal trader license with City of Cape Town. So yeah, like, I've got a lot going on, so that's why I've been out for a minute. I've seen a lot of the questions that people have had and the engagement on the videos. Super grateful for that. I'm supposed to be doing like a 3-month where's the car video, and I am going to do that. The car's still good. I still haven't tinted my windows. I still don't have like an extra storage at the top, which I'm definitely gonna need for Mzansi when I'm taking stock and my stuff. And I'm probably gonna be going with my cousin, fingers crossed. He hasn't really responded to me yet. He wants to get his finances in order first. And what else? I have the bike rack at least. So I'm supposed to do an update video on that. And then obviously back to Property Fridays. I'm back at work tomorrow, so Friday I should definitely be well enough to be, back at doing that. And what else? I've had a lot of trouble with respect to my property portfolio. I don't really want to make a separate video about that because it's still unfolding, but one of my tenants didn't pay, and yeah, that's proving to be a bit difficult. The agents are handling it as best as they can, and we're just crossing thumbs around that. I'm mentioning it because when we talk about property, we always talk about like the passive income, and in reality, I'm co-passive, right? Because when incidents like this happen, you get to realize that, look, those provisions that you're supposed to have actually make sense, right? Because R&B home loans would debit on my payday, and loan was supposed to pay me 8 days later. So for 8 days, I'm already financing this cost. So now it went from 8 days to 18 days, right? So that's something that I sort of just have to sit with financially. And then my flatmate also didn't pay rent this month. That one is a bit more nuanced. I can't tell you how frustrating it is, but that's also very big in terms of budget, yeah, at the end of the day. So I've had a lot going on, but beautiful people got me beautiful flowers, so I feel good about that at least. And yeah, that's sort of the update video, just to say I'm alive. I've seen the comments. I am going to be doing a property video on Friday, and then we can move forward from there. One of my other tenants is also not renewing. She's moving, so that's also a bit difficult, and in terms of timing, it's not ideal. So one of the tenants are not paying, and his lease was up for renewal, and then the other one, the lease is up for renewal and she's not renewing. So that's a bit difficult. And then in Tanganani, the new development I bought in, you'll remember I put up a video a couple of months ago talking about the 4 different offers I got from the different banks. So that is also, construction has just began. So I'm assuming it's going to be two months before it registers. And yeah, so financially November is going to be a bit difficult for me, and it's all the more reason why Funeka didn't make sure about as tender the Malitsunyana Bride Fest, the Rocking the Daisies, and next year hopefully like I've got an established portfolio as a festival vendor, so that I can apply and secure indawo at MTN Bushfire. Because MTN Bushfire sees about 25,000 patrons daily, over like 3 days. Malitsunyana sees about 4,000, call it 5,000 patrons. It's also a multi-day event. And then Rocking the Daisies, I want to say 15 or 16,000. So the levels to Zindo, but MTN Bushfire is, you know, the absolute goal. And the nice thing about these things is that, like, if one of the festivals goes really well, then it's not guaranteed where you're gonna get in the following year, but you've obviously got a foot in, right? Because you did well previously. So that's the kind of continuity I'm hoping for. I'm also like open to like getting a maybe Joburg-based partner. But Jayaz Bakunzima ufumana a partner because then they're just a glorified employee, which isn't really what I want. I want someone who's going to push back if dictated nonsense, and I want someone with their own ideas. And I'm more than willing to open up the shareholdings and make it like clear that you're not just an employee, but it has to be someone who's equally yoked. So that's what I mean by not them being a glorified employee. And in terms of them being Joburg based, like that's where the events are. Like Cape Town, they've got a festival in one. Joburg has Val, it's got the Josie one, it's got Soweto. So you get what I mean. And you've got a festival, I'm just using that because that's where I've worked. You know, that's the tender I got recently. But Nasipitori, like Epitori, there's a lot of events and stuff like that. And you've got some events in Mpumalanga, you've got some events in Northwest. So I would be, you know, open to being on the ground at the Kapa, and the person would be based in Josie. So that's also something like I'm digging deep into. Obviously, like I also did like a work-related LinkedIn post on this because Albany was the headline sponsor and Clover was also sponsored. You'll know that Clover is no longer listed. Clover SA is no longer listed. Well, I hope my nipples aren't showing. Clover SA is no longer listed, but I just put on LinkedIn that I had the opportunity, like the fact that I work in asset management and being able to partner with these brands was really impactful because I've got perspective, you know, having worked in the industry, I've got perspective as a consumer and now as somewhat of a partner, which really lends me to a unique lens into, you know, how corporate or SA Inc. really works. I'm not in equities, I'm in fixed income, but still, I think the kind of information I got as a vendor was invaluable. For instance, we know that United Bank just bought Equoca Speed Point, so everything I experienced when I was using the Speed Point I shared with my team and I shared on my LinkedIn post. But yeah, that's how you can sort of get brownie points on LinkedIn, right? And that's something that like I wasn't gonna let that opportunity pass me by. I would really recommend eCoca, having used Yoko when I was a student for like my smaller hustles. That's also the thing, like e-hustles really excite me, and I haven't had a hustle like in a minute, right? I prefer eCoca than Yoko. Onboarding was beautiful, it was super simple. I got my machine from Archery, macro at Archery. The salesperson was super helpful and he was very knowledgeable. And I said as much in my LinkedIn post, right? And yeah, I really enjoy it. It's simple, it's clear, and I think in the ways that I'm going to use it moving forward, I'm also going to be able to use the selling of vouchers and all of that. I've actually always wanted like a sponsor shop, Netflix and bar, like that's always been the dream, and like a lot of people laugh at it, right? Because they'll be like, "You educated, why do you think like that?" And for me, it's like the simplest businesses make the greatest margins and the best money. You don't have to be overly creative because like Leland Bendians higher and doesn't look a but I told myself I want to be a supporting character. It was our picnic, so I was there renting out picnic blankets and renting out picnic chairs. Let me show you guys one. Actually, this is one of my chairs that I was renting out, and I also had like a bunch of picnic blankets. But like, if business doesn't have to be that complicated for it to make good money. I'm a simple girl, I like simple things, and I think it takes in a shop have always like, that's always just been the vision, you know, outside of my career. And I don't really care what people think about it, because you're not going to take away my career, you're not going to take away my degree, you're not going to take away my intelligence, because the telefoni taxi, fleet taxi, nelanduka, nespaza shop, okay, I'm coming to the end. Also want to note that I have a scooter that I'm renting out as well. You can email me like with a license and a passport. I'm based in Cape Town. Yeah, if you are interested in renting the scooter, or if you know someone, they can just give them my email address to holler at me. But yeah, like I've got a lot happening under the business, but I know what I want, and I know that the informal economy is going to grow. That's where South Africa's GDP growth is going to come from. I mean, you've got 17 million people, 14 million of which bahlala ezilokishini and 3 million of which bahlala edolopini, and like the suburb is suburbed out. No more growth is going to come out. The middle class is middle classed out. So corporate is forced to, shift or reallocate resources to Baselokshini who were under apartheid, locked out of the systems. So if you're not in that cash economy, if you're not in that informal economy, and you are aware of these things, then it was our course. Okay, I'm gonna end the video here. I've been saying I'm gonna end the video, so thanks for watching.